Welcome back to Cop Doc. Back to do the picks for the weekend. We done last week. We'd actually 10 picks. One was void because McAllister didn't make the Liverpool squad at all. So we'd 9 picks. We got 4 right and 5 wrong, but we made depending on what you put on it, it was like a €15 profit. I put the graphic on here anyways. So obviously the big pick up last week was Everton to score a goal and ball halves, which I thought was a great bet for value alone, and the nap was 2-1 Everton. Now, to be fair, Everton were lucky to win. If you'd ask me, I thought Brighton were very unlucky, but still, always, this is what I'm saying to you, you have to sometimes back the value in anything you do, even if you don't fancy it sometimes. But I did fancy it did come in, and the value was obviously there. So last week is actually a good week if you're talking about profits, depending on what you're doing. I'm just marking them out as a tenner on each bet. So so let's get going with the picks for this weekend. Now again, it's so hard to pick value. I just don't like backing odds on stuff, but sometimes you're forced to do it. These are just picks again, as I said. You can mix and match if you fancy anything, because like everything, they're all not going to come in, so, and maybe not a lot will come in, so it's just opinions. Starting off with Chelsea and Fulham. I have this down as like Chelsea. You imagine Chelsea at home to Fulham will win. I have Chelsea down to win and both teams to score at 2-1. Last season between them it was actually tight. It's been tight with them. This is a derby, more derby for Fulham than it is Chelsea, but it's a London derby all the same. And there was nothing between these last season head to head. So I think Chelsea should have enough to win. So I'm going to go here Chelsea to win, both teams to score 2-1. Next up then we have Man United versus Burnley. Man United, what about them last night even against Grimsby? Shocking. Like I expected more out of them. So your man's under pressure now, it seems, Amorim. Now I'm sure he still has a few more games to work with, but the pressure's on this weekend, and they're 1-3, which is shocking value. This is what I'm trying to say. How do we find value in football? You're looking at every market just to find value, and this is very hard to find it. So I looked there. Man United to win is 1-3, crazy, 1-3, and I'm struggling. -1 is 11 even money. -1 Man United is even money. So obviously they have to score or to win by at least 2 goals, which is crazy. So I'm going with Mbeumo again to score anytime at 6-4. It's better than doing -1, because if you're -1 to bet to come in, you have to be getting 2 goals and possibly 3. I think after Mbeumo scoring last night again, not again, but for against Grimsby, maybe you got the ball rolling. Last week I fancied him to score anytime, he didn't, but I'm thinking this time he's going to get off the mark at 6-4, and you're better off doing that than doing -1 at even money for Man United. So again, it's fine. You're going to see through all this again. It's very hard to find value in a lot of these games. Next up is Sunderland versus Brentford. Now I fancied Brentford to go down this year. Now they actually got a great result last week against Villa, when Villa's a difficult team to beat. And of course, Sunderland got off to a flying start at the start of the season. Home game, and we fancied them to win that game. And last week, obviously, they lost, but a goal in each half, 20-23, I think is good value. You have both teams going for you. As I said, I fancy Brentford to go down, but they got a great result last week against Villa. Who knows? It's going to take a few games for all this to start to fizzle out, and we figure out who's playing well, who's not, and who's looking like they're going to struggle this year. That was just an early pick for me, but Brentford after beating Villa last week is a good result. But look, a goal in each half, 20-23 is really good value. Next up we go for Tottenham versus Bournemouth. Tottenham flying, 2 wins out of 2 for Tottenham. Thomas Frank, he's gone off to a flying start. You couldn't ask for better. And Bournemouth obviously was unlucky against Liverpool, so they'll be wanting to get off to a start. Of course, getting off to a start, getting more points than they should. I have down Tottenham again, value Tottenham to win, which I'd imagine they will at home to Bournemouth. They should do enough to beat Bournemouth. Both teams to score though, so Tottenham to win and both teams to score at 2-1. good value there. Wolves versus Everton. Wolves are looking like the team now that's they're not going too well. They lost their first 2 games. They're going to be under pressure straight away. Everton got their first win last week. We tipped them. And as I always say, David Moyes' teams is very, very hard to break down. So I'm going to go for an Everton win still. I think Moyes will scrape them a win here. 9-5 is actually not a bad price. Wolves is in trouble, and Everton do well to keep clean sheets now with Moyes involved. So it'll be a low scoring game, but I imagine Everton will scrape it. Next up is Leeds versus Newcastle. Newcastle have been very unlucky. First game against who would play in the first game? Villa. They were very unlucky in that game. They should have won that game. And then, of course, against Liverpool, my team last week, they definitely at least deserved a draw against Liverpool. If not, they could have won it. I mean, let's be fair, but they played very well. I think this is going to be where they're going to get up and running. I think they're going to beat Leeds away from home. Leeds themselves been hammered last week against Arsenal, but Arsenal's a top club, so top team. So I mean, I wasn't expecting them to get a result, but and of course they won their first game against Everton with a penalty. So I'd still say Newcastle will do enough just to get the season up and running, and they'll do enough to beat Leeds. Or 11-10. Brighton versus Man City. Now, you just don't know what you're getting with Man City. Look at them last week, losing to Spurs. I fancied them at home to beat Spurs, but Spurs had their card. But you don't know with City. And Brighton is always a stiff team. Brighton played Everton last weekend, and I fancied Everton, as I said. But Brighton were very, very unlucky. Brighton should have got a result. So, 11-8 first half over 1.5 goals, because City could come out and go 2 or 3. This is just the madness of them, and then Brighton could beat them. I mean, it's just, you just don't know with City anymore. So I just think first half over 1.5 goals, 11-8. I'm telling you, this week I was struggling to find value in any of these games, so it's hard picking. Forest versus West Ham. Forest are doing all right, aren't they? I mean, they've gotten off to a decent start. West Ham looks again in trouble. So I would say I wrote down a goal on both halves here, 4-5. It's just a safe one, because you don't know if West Ham decide just to pick it up all of a sudden. I mean, you have them going for you with goals. So Forest is definitely scoring a goal. So I think you're getting what, 4-5 on a goal in that other half. I can't see this being a nil-nil. And again, I was struggling to find value in this game, so I'm going to go goal on both halves at 4-5. Next up is Liverpool against Arsenal, game of the weekend. Liverpool hasn't played well against. They were all right. Well, Bournemouth were very, very good in the first night. Liverpool were good in spells, but they could be a lot better. And then they were very poor against Newcastle, I felt. Arsenal, I thought Man United were the better team, I thought, in the first game, but then Arsenal came out and played. Leeds. I know Leeds were only newly promoted, but Arsenal went on and hammered them, and looked well. And Arsenal is a very, very tough team to break down. Arteta has them defensively very, very good, and they are. So I'm going to go for Mabe here. Maybe the bias is getting into me now. Arsenal is still not going to stop Liverpool from scoring. No matter, I just think, obviously they can, but I can't see it happening. I don't think there's any team in the world that can stop Liverpool from scoring. I just think Liverpool have a lot of firepower, and at Anfield, you know the story. So the value for me in this game is Liverpool to score a goal on both halves, because I do 100% believe they're scoring a goal in 90 minutes, and you're getting 2-1 for them to score a goal in the opposite half, the other half of that game. As I said, Liverpool is due to play well. I mean, they're due to just bang for everything to go right for them. And what a team to do it against, because Arsenal, you have to be up for. Like, Arsenal's going to be challenging for the league this year with Liverpool, so I mean they're going to have to be up for it. And lastly, Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. Again, I spent 10-15 minutes looking through this market here trying to find something what was sticking out. How, like, it's very hard. But I did check. Will Hughes was the most booked player for Crystal Palace last season, okay? And he's already booked in the 2 Premier League games. He got booked in both games, and he's 19-10, which is almost 2-1 to be booked again. Now, 3 in a row would be hard, I suppose, but he's been their top booked player last season, and there's only 2 games gone. There's 2 yellow cards in the Premier League, so you'd have to. I mean, that's a value bet at 19-10. So yeah, and that finishes up with the picks. And my nap is the same. I genuinely think Liverpool is going to score a goal in both halves against Arsenal. It's going to be tough, but as I said, I just think Liverpool's going to score a goal in 90 minutes. So the value is with Liverpool to score another goal. Like, Arsenal, I think, is going to score a goal also, but with Liverpool being at home, the crowd behind them, yeah, I think they're going to score a goal in each half. That's my pick for this week also. So that's just mixed up with the single bet and nap. That's my picks for this weekend. So hopefully, as I said, we're actually down on. We broke even really the first week. I think there was a couple of cents, 70 cent we were down, and then last week we were up. So be interesting now to see, can we, have another week in the plus. So yeah, so enjoy the weekend, enjoy the football, have a good one.